Oh,
Oh,
hi.
hi.
Welcome back.
Today we're going to answer some of your questions about what it's like to travel the globe with a family and a dog.
Yeah, a lot of the questions we've received have to do with traveling with Marley. We already have one video that we've posted that explained the process of getting her exported out of Canada into our first destination, which was Malaysia. There's going to be a follow-up video to that coming soon about how we got her out of Malaysia because that was a huge headache. But a lot of the
Big,
questions,
big problems.
big problems. So a lot of the questions are about how we traveled with Marley. So let's just dive right in.
Traveling with Marley was a real pain. Let's just get that out of the way.
But we love her.
She doesn't know how much we love her. She doesn't know the work, the pain, the money that went into bringing her around the globe with us.
It's true. Lots of work. So the first question is like the logistics around traveling with a dog. So right off the hop, we gave her a sedative. People are always like, you put her in the belly of an airplane for that many hours? How traumatizing. She does not seem to be traumatized at all. That's partly because we did get a sedative from our veterinarian before we left, and we gave them to her. They didn't knock her out completely, but they definitely made her
Relaxed.
relaxed. So she wasn't so anxious and high strung. We also obviously had her in a crate that she was already familiar with, and inside of the crate was like the blanket that she's already familiar with. So there was a couple of things there that would remind her of something that would be familiar.
There was a ton of like preparation work that you needed to do before we could get Marley out of Canada,
Yeah.
right? That involved a ton of paperwork and dealing with vets and getting like vaccines and
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
right dealing. Yes, exactly. Ton of that. I
Yeah,
don't
all
know.
that's outlined in the video about exporting a dog from Canada. So if you're interested in that, you could check that out. One of the things that we did that was really helpful and gave us peace of mind was we attached to the side of her crate a thick zipper file folder that was like translucent, and we put it right in the front where people could see a picture of the dog, her name, her gender, her age, our contact information. It just gave us kind of peace of mind to know that someone who might be with Marley could at least say call her by her name, and if they needed to get a hold of us, they would know how to do that easily. That was it gave us and me, well, me and the girls. I don't know if it mattered to you.
Well,
It gave us peace of mind.
no, but the story of getting into the KL airport, right? That when we arrived in Kuala Lumpur for the very first time, and the people who would bring out Marley brought her to an area that we weren't expecting her to be, and so we were waiting for Marley somewhere
Where
in
we
the
were told to wait
yeah,
for
where
her.
we were told to wait, sort of in the baggage claim type area. I get a text message or a WhatsApp message from some random number that includes a picture of our dog from that's taken from somewhere in the baggage area that we're not there, and letting us know we found your dog here. And so we were like, oh my gosh, it's not, the dog's not coming to where we've been told to wait. And so that allowed us to
Yeah,
go and to find her. And so it was,
really
in the
helpful.
in the words of our kids, instant payoff.
Also included in that translucent file folder was all of her vaccine paperwork, the certified paperwork from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, our vet information, like anything that someone who's inspecting the dog might need access to. Copies of that information was all left inside of that pouch, along with an extra serving of food in case there was a layover or a delay or something and they needed to feed her, they would have access to her food. We attached a water bottle right to the front of her crate so she could drink to her heart's content. Turns out she didn't drink anything. Um, and then this kind of leads into question number two. When we received her, every time we've traveled with her so far, these long haul flights, when we've received her at the final destination, her crate has been pristine, crystal clear, clean. She never had any accidents. I guess she's too, who knows? Who knows what's going through her mind? But we had read lots of dramatic stories of how horrible crates were when dogs landed on the other side of a long haul flight and Marley didn't use the washroom at all.
Now, shout out to Qatar Airways though, because when we flew with them from Kuala Lumpur to Rome, a part of their policy when they are transporting pets is that at the layover spot, which for us was in Doha, Qatar, that if the layover is more than 3 hours, they have somebody who takes the dog out of the crate and takes them for a walk and cleans the crate and
Feeds them.
replenishes their food and their water. So man, shout out to Qatar Airways for taking care of Marley.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if Marley liked them?
That's true.
Let's just say Marley doesn't always like other people outside of our family. This question has been asked by a handful of you. How many suitcases did you guys pack?
Too many.
Too many. So we started out with 8 checked bags and 4 carry-on rolling pieces of luggage.
That's right.
Plus our
8
personal items.
checked bags.
8 checked bags, 4 carry-ons, plus personal items for 4 people. We knew that was a lot, but we had never done this before, and so we were a little bit less, I think, strict about what we should have said yes and no to.
And fun fact, most of the airlines that fly in and out of Asia have really strict regulations about the weight of carry-on luggage. And so when we first arrived at the airport in Toronto, we had to do a bunch of rearranging of our bags because for almost all of us, our carry-on luggage exceeded the maximum allowable weight of, I believe it was 7 kilograms, which is about 15 pounds. And like, your carry-on suitcase,
like 2 pounds, 3 pounds,
almost empty, was that much.
Brutal. So, yeah, in hindsight, we would pack very differently if we were heading over to Asia again, for sure. What we ended up doing, our kids left Kuala Lumpur to go back to Canada for a few weeks. And when they went, they packed the suitcases that they needed for their things. In addition, we sent them each with 1 full suitcase packed to leave back home. So by then we had kind of gotten settled a little and we realized, okay, we don't need whatever. I don't even remember what we sent back. But there was a lot of overpacking that was done that was unnecessary. So we got those 2 suitcases offloaded. That was fantastic. Then when we were leaving Kuala Lumpur to come to Italy, we were like, we still have too much stuff and we're going to have to cart all this luggage through cobblestone streets, and we knew we were coming to this little village that you couldn't really drive into, and so we were like, how are we going to transport all of this? So we shipped back home another large suitcase stuffed to the brim with all of our summer clothes and shoes and items that we just don't need while we're here. So the kids have the most stuff here with us, obviously. And again, we didn't know what we were expecting, right? So we said yes to a lot of things, and in hindsight, we should have said no, don't bring that.
For instance, when weight matters in your luggage, pay close attention to the amount of books that you're going to bring in a suitcase, because turns out books are heavy, especially when you've got like 5, 6, 7, or 8 of them in a suitcase.
Yeah, we're super thankful that we have readers for children, but these readers don't like to read anything besides actual books, which I get, I'm the same. But for traveling, I just put everything on my iPad. And they were like, no, we need books. Well, in hindsight, we should have said you can have like 2 or something and then put the rest on electronic devices just to make it lighter and easier.
Yeah, I have like over 100 books.
Yeah.
With a combined weight of less than a pound.
So that leaves us currently with 5 full-size suitcases here and 4 carry-on size suitcases here. And a crate. And a dog crate. I still think we have too much. We don't need it. Jeff packed 1 suitcase. I packed 1 suitcase. We have carry-ons that have extra things in them that we wouldn't want to check necessarily, like all this camera gear and stuff. And then, so this kind of piggybacks onto another question. Some of the family items that we brought that we thought would be really helpful to have wherever we ended up in the world was, we have some collapsible storage containers. Those ended up being really helpful in Malaysia in our kitchen because there was a real lack of storage space there. Here we've been using them mainly in the bathrooms because there's no drawers or cupboards or anything to store things in the bathrooms here. So having collapsible fabric or vinyl storage bins is a really great solution, and we packed with those.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
We also packed a lot of games. We packed 2 entire complete versions of Catan. If you play Catan, you know how many pieces that means. We packed 2 versions of Catan. We packed a crib board. We packed a few decks of cards, a couple other smaller games. So we packed a lot of games because we knew we'd be spending a lot of time together as a family, and I don't regret that.
No, of course not. Especially here in Italy, where we literally haven't turned on a television since we've been here. Now, to be fair, everyone's got devices, so there's, people do watch some videos and things on their devices, but we've spent hardly any time watching television or movies or things like that, and so we've spent a lot of time gathered around the kitchen table playing Catan, and that's been a lot of fun.
It's been so much fun. I'm getting really good at it, so is Bella.
That's true.
We also brought, I packed a handful of our own hangers from home. So I probably packed too many. I probably could have packed half the amount of hangers. So Jeff put some in his suitcase. I put some in like a family suitcase. But we've used them everywhere we've gone.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere we've gone, we've used them. So I packed too many, but it was a really good idea to pack some hangers.
When you're packing for a long time,
An undetermined amount
yeah,
of
an
time.
undetermined amount of time, you're bringing more with you than the typical Airbnb or even the typical hotel is planning on when they equip their closets with hangers, right? So
Right.
usually a hotel or a typical Airbnb, they're going to throw a few hangers into a closet because they're thinking that you're going to be spending, a few days or a week there and that you're not going to need much space. But because we're staying for longer periods of time and we have more stuff, it makes sense that we would need more hangers than what just comes provided with the places we've been. So that was a really good idea.
We also packed some electronics. We packed 2 HomePod minis and we ended up shipping one back because that was excessive. And we packed our Apple TV, which was great. We use that in Malaysia a lot. Actually, we even traveled with that to Vietnam. We brought it with us there too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good thing to have.
We packed like a package, like a bag. I don't know what it's called, filled with everything you would need that would be inside of your medicine cabinet. And we received the advice that basically said, bring everything that you have that's medicine wise, because when you're there, if something happens, you have access to it. I had that whole bag with me. Something did happen. It was not in that medicine kit. And we ended up going to the hospital. There's a whole video about how I ended up in the hospital in Malaysia. So knowing what we have ended up dipping into and using from that whole kit, I think is a really great idea in theory. Maybe in practice, not so much. I would have definitely pared down and scaled down to different medicines. And now that we're in Italy, anything that we need is accessible. So we really don't need it. We were prepared, but unnecessarily prepared.
We're like Boy Scouts.
We also, like we said, packed too many books, so that's a regret. We shouldn't have done that. We packed the dog her toys and food, so obviously that took some space up, but we only packed 2 for toys, so I don't think we overpacked when it came to toys.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So really the overpacking would have been in clothes, shoes, books. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway.
We have a lot of shoes.
Yes.
And by we,
Me and Bella. Not really me. I mean, I started the trip with a handful of shoes, wore a handful of them out because they were garbage, so they went into the trash. Now at this part of the trip, all I have packed with me right now is 3 pairs of shoes.
yeah, I guess so. I was just really surprised when we were in KL and we had like a whole section of shoes that I was stunned at. Every time I walked by it, I was like, I can't believe the amount of shoes that we have
Because
here.
sandals are so small, you can pack a whole bunch of little pairs of sandals.
And we did.
And we did. We shipped a bunch of them back home already. Okay, moving along. Next question, how long are we here? Well, first of all, here currently is in, you say it.
I think it's pronounced Campiglia Maritima, and it's in Tuscany, right near the Mediterranean. It's a fantastic little walled town that we're in. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful. So, and we are here, we don't know, we have, well, no, we do know. We have booked this Airbnb to, for 1 month. So we're going to be here to sometime mid-February. And then after that, the next question, where to next?
Your guess is as good as mine.
So we don't know. I have saved a handful of Airbnbs further south in Italy to try to get to where it's a little bit warmer. But we honestly don't know. And people are always flabbergasted when they hear that. But we truly don't know. We just have some ideas. And when the time comes, we'll book something and we'll head somewhere. That's kind of how we're living right now.
Yeah, it's an adventure.
Final question, again, has to do with Marley. How did you guys take the train from Rome to Tuscany with Marley?
Traveling with a dog in Italy is not like traveling with a dog in Malaysia. And that's probably just a cultural thing. But in
Yeah.
Italy, the culture is way more accommodating to dogs than it is to, than we found it to be in Malaysia. And so getting a dog on the train was super easy. When you buy a ticket, you can tell them that you're bringing a dog on. And you have to buy, I think it's like about a half a ticket in order to have your dog get on the train. The only other thing that we needed to take care of was that if your dog's not going to be in a crate, then it has to be wearing like a muzzle or one of those cages that they put over the dog's snout, I guess, to prevent it from biting somebody.
So in order for that to all work smoothly, we gave our dog a third of a sedative. If you know Marley, you know she's a little anxious,
A little high strung.
a little high strung, a little anxious. And the thing that's so funny about walking around with her here, whether it was in Rome or here, she'll bark at anyone she walks past. She'll go run up to them and bark at them. And here in Italy, people just stop and their faces light up and they reach down and they let the dog sniff their hand, and they're just so welcoming and loving towards dogs here that it's really been an interesting thing to observe. Even when a dog's been like Marley, who her first reaction when she sees somebody is like, "Stay away from my family."
That's right.
So that's kind of it. That's the travel questions we have been asked. I hope you found those answers a little helpful or informative.
If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, then like, what's the matter with you? Hit the subscribe button, and you can get get notified every time that a new video is uploaded on this channel. And we're so grateful for all of you who are joining us on this journey. We really do appreciate the community that's being built here at the I Am Love channel.
Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you next time.